What is up, guys? Welcome to Cerny Gaming. Hope you're all having a great time in Elden Ring so far. If you want to help support the channel, then don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons and drop your questions into the comments section below. Today we are taking a look at what is widely considered to be the hardest boss, not only in Elden Ring but in the whole franchise of Dark Souls 1, 2 and 3, along with Sekiro and Bloodborne. Malenia, Blade of Mycella, is a fearsome and devastating boss that is perfectly capable of laying waste to some of Elden Ring's most accomplished players. But the counterpart to Elden Ring's most difficult bosses is the wide array of flexibility that this game allows, permitting us to stack the odds in our favour. To that end, it's time to cheese Malenia and completely demolish her before she has a chance to do anything meaningful. We're adopting a full-on aggressive response to her tyranny and nuking her down, because at the end of the day, she can't kill you if she's already dead. First, let's take a look at the boss herself. Malenia wields a katana, which you can get from her remembrance if you're successful in destroying her. Her attacks are swift, deal devastating damage, heal the boss with every successful strike, even through a shield, and the moveset is wide, varied, and difficult to contend with. While Malenia can technically be parried, you parry kings out there will need to successfully deflect her attacks 3 times before you can even get a chance for a critical hit. That's no easy feat considering how fast and varied Malenia's attacks actually are. Not only that, but when you defeat Malenia, she will then regenerate 80% of her original health and gain a new form, and along with it, many new and even more deadly attacks. Now infused with Scarlet Rot, Malenia can heal for more, fly in the air, bomb you, assail you with copies of herself, and generally has a whole host of potential one-shot attacks. There are 2 specifically devastating attacks to watch out for. The first is present in both forms and is the Ash of War associated with her weapon, Waterfowl Dance. This is spectacularly difficult to consistently avoid and comes in a long combination of AoE attacks that can track you no matter where you try to hide. Running away can save you from the first 2 bursts, but the rest you'll have to dodge perfectly. The second attack to watch out for is the Scarlet Bloom bomb, which signals the start of Phase 2 and can be used at any point from then until the end of the fight. Malenia will float in the air, delay for a while, and then very swiftly obliterate you with a dive bomb, followed by an additional explosion and then a lasting AoE, which will damage you and build up Scarlet Rot particularly quickly. Dodge the dive at the last moment and immediately start dodging away from the AoE as fast as you can to avoid the second boom. So, Malenia stays true to her word and shows us true horror, but let's take a look at how to cheese the hell out of this boss and put her down before she gets a chance to put out the vast majority of these awful attacks. You are going to need 4 things, and most of them are pretty easy to get a hold of. First, you'll need Black Knife Tish, a spirit summon that you can obtain near the end of Ranni's questline. Tish is capable of holding her own, dealing incredible damage, avoiding attacks, and generally being the best ally that you could possibly ask for. Go out of your way to get her, level her up to 10, and then start the fight by summoning her. That's the hardest one to obtain. Next, you'll need to go to the Cathedral of Dragon Communion and obtain the Borealis' Mist Incantation, which is an incredibly strong frost-infused breath attack that rapidly builds up the frostbite status effect. You'll have to defeat the associated dragon to get this, so if you can't do this, then go ahead and use the standard, non-named version instead. The only other incantation that you'll need is Swarm of Flies, which you can get from Mogwin's Palace. It's pretty easy to speedrun for her, especially if you've progressed Vare's questline to unlock this area early. From the palace approach Site of Grace, just head down the path with all the sleeping enemies and hug the wall to your right. You'll come to some little cave inlets, and one of them has this incantation inside it. Again, you just need minimum requirements to use this. The final thing that you'll need is a Sacred Seal. The Seal of Dragon Communion probably works best for a little additional damage from our Frost Breath, since no seal currently boosts blood sorceries, such as Swarm of Flies. Realistically though, pretty much any seal will do for this one. The status effect procs are enough without the raw upfront frost damage. And that is pretty much all that you'll need. Head to Malenia's boss room and summon Black Knife Tish, waiting for her to take aggro. Then, keeping at a medium distance, cast Swarm of Flies twice and Frost Breath once. Having enough FP for a double cast of Frost Breath is ideal, but you can chuck some of your cerulean flask and fire again if needed. The flies and the frost breath should hit at more or less the same time and should stunlock Malenia into taking the full force of all of this, along with all of the associated frostbite and bleed buildup. When these pop on top of Black Knife Tish's Ash of War, the boss will start losing massive chunks of health repeatedly. When that cycle is done, step back and let Tish get aggro again. Rinse and repeat until phase 2, and when phase 2 hits, you'll need to manage the initial bomb no matter what, because it's scripted to come at you at the start of this phase regardless. Dodge at the last minute, back away until you're safe, and then it's pretty much the same drill. Wait for Tish to get aggro again, and when the time is right, such as right here where Malenia stuns herself by bombing Tish, it's time to start our combo yet again and put her down for good. And that's how you do it. Congratulations, you now have a massive amount of runes and the capacity to trade the Remembrance of the Rot Goddess for either her very cool katana or the Scarlet Bloom bomb incantation. Choose the katana. The incantation leaves you incredibly vulnerable for far too long. Thanks very much, guys. We're going to check out the full fight now so that you can see how it's done in action. Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and as always, have a great time in your adventures in Elden Ring. Enjoy!
The mark of a true lord. Oh, dear Mikola. Oh, dearest Mikola. My brother. I'm sorry. I finally met my man.